Devotional, Thursday, 16th of April. A famous painting known as The Voyage of the Icebergs was painted back at a time by a very famous artist called Frederick Edwin Church. It's a huge work measuring 1.6 metres by 2.8 metres. When Church painted it in 1863, it would have seemed strange that such a painting could be lost. However, it was for many years and only found in 1979 in a children's home in Manchester called Rose Hill. It was discovered on the third floor in a state of disrepair. Workmen had rested their ladders against it. It had lost its lustre, was shabby and faded, and had even been used as a dartboard at one stage. And in fact, one little boy had also added his own signature at the bottom next to the artist's. But when the painting, having been restored, went for auction at Sotheby's, it fetched $2.5 million. All that time the painting had been forgotten and ignored, when actually it was a masterpiece worth millions. And so often in life, it's easy to overlook something very precious that is right under our noses. We perhaps find ourselves doing it with those that we love, until something happens to them to bring us up short. We take for granted our health, our financial security, until an unforeseen problem arises. It's easy to do what is easy to do in broader lives. It's also easy to do in our spiritual lives. It's easy to become spiritually complacent and to forget the awesome truths that are ours in Jesus Christ. Perhaps we get taken up with the pressures on us at work or in home. Possibly we or a family member is going through a tough time health-wise. Possibly simply the harsh reality of getting through the week means that we barely have enough time to think seriously about the things of God. Or indeed in the midst of this global crisis, this pandemic, it is so easy for us to lose sight of the amazing person that Jesus is. But when we do that with Jesus, then we are treading on very thin ice. So we forget how wonderful it is to be saved and loved by God. We become not so keen to get rid of sin in our lives and strive to be like God because we don't see the point. We stop praying and we stop making sacrifices for the gospel, all because we've lost sight of the person of Jesus, or we've grown weary and complacent. It's so easy to overlook the precious gift that Jesus is. It reminds me of Paul's words to the Colossians in chapter 1, verses 15 to 18. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and in earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. And he is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy.